Hello, I'm Sonia West. Welcome to Sanjha podcast. In the studio today, we have Harman Bhangu, MLA for Langley, Abbotsford. Always a pleasure to talk to him. He's a big part of the community. We see him everywhere making changes for our community and what matters to us. So welcome, Harman.
Thank you for having me on, Sonia, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas to all the listeners and yourself, and enjoy this time of year with your loved ones.
Merry Christmas to you. I'm really impressed, actually, that you said Merry Christmas. I mean, I didn't have this as part of my conversation I was going to have with you, but it seems like we're afraid to say Merry Christmas to people these days. People are, reverting to Happy Holidays because they don't want to offend anyone. And I say Merry Christmas to everybody because that's what it is. It's Christmas. So
yeah, no, I like saying Merry Christmas. You know, when we come here, being young, I used to look forward to it. My parents we'd take part in it. We'd celebrate Christmas. And one thing, I don't know why it became so contentious to say. And another thing too is it's a Christian holiday, which is fine.
Right.
Because a lot of the Christians welcomed us into this country. They let us have our religious beliefs, celebrate it. We can practice our faith. I think we should celebrate the fact that Canadian Christians were welcoming, open to others and other faiths. And I think we should say Merry Christmas and honor that. And we have our own things, like with the Sabjale in December. It's very important to us.
Yes.
We can reflect on that. The Jewish folks have Hanukkah.
That's right.
But I think we want to actually keep that culture's actual holiday and celebrate that. I don't think we should water it down.
I agree with you. I think it's respect. When we say Happy Diwali to each other, and we have friends that are not in the South Asian community saying Happy Vaisakhi, Happy Diwali, why can't we say Merry Christmas?
Exactly. And then some people say Bandi Chor Divas, which is totally fine. Let's just respect others and let's, take part in things. And I love this country. So why not give respect to the folks that were so welcoming to us? We've been able to carve out a good life for ourselves, lay down some roots.
Yes.
And I'm proud to be a Canadian Sikh.
I agree with you 100%. When you said, I love this country, that resonates with me. I was born in Canada.
Yeah.
I am, of South Asian heritage, and I absolutely appreciate my culture, being Indian. And I also love being Canadian, and I'm proud of it. I was recently in India, as we spoke off camera.
Yeah.
And when the plane landed, Harman, you're going to be surprised. They were playing Christmas carols. I was so surprised to hear Christmas carols on Air India. But I was also really happy because I thought, why not have Christmas carols? It's Christmas time. So it's really nice to see that. And then you saying Merry Christmas today just kind of brought it all together.
Well, that's great, and that's awesome that people are actually celebrating different holidays. We talk about diversity. We talk about getting involved in other cultures. Right. Well, let's not forget one here that was the foundation of this country.
That's right. It seems right now we won't talk a lot about Christianity, but it seems like that's the one that's being kind of neglected. We're highlighting all the communities except for the Christian community. And I feel like that's really, it's the wrong thing to do because in one part we're talking about inclusion and making sure everyone is represented. On the other hand, we're like, well, but just don't say Merry Christmas. But why? So we should be including everyone if that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
There's a lot of problems right now with land and land claims. And I know Dallas Brody is making a lot of noise with the documentary that she's put out. Let's get right into it. What do you think of Dallas Brody and her views? I mean, some of them are kind of conservative aligned, I would say. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I have to say she brought a good point about the UNDRIP, and that's been something that I've always had in the back of my mind too.
Yeah. Because
it's a very complex situation, right? And what actually caused this couch in ruling was the 2021 Interpretation Amendment Act that David Eby ran through during the lockdowns and the state of emergency. Right. So what that did is it gave the court system and the judges, it told them to look through the lens of UNDRIP. And when you look through the lens of UNDRIP, you go to section 35, it has Aboriginal title in there, but there isn't fee simple, which is private property ownership. And that's going to be a big problem. And yes, we can repeal UNDRIP and DRIPA. It will help a little bit. But in actuality, I do feel Section 35, we will have to maybe take a hard look at that and fix some of the constitutional writings on that goes along with it.
It's a scary time because not only do we have division among people, we talked about religion, and then now we're talking about land claims. It's such an uncertain time. I'm from Kamloops, and apparently all of Kamloops is under question. I mean, my parents have been there since the 70s, and it's a worry for a lot of people, thinking, is this even something that belongs to us after we've paid our taxes? We think we own our home, but do we?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, you look, my parents immigrated here when I was born here. They came here for a better life, to lay down some roots, buy some property, and pass it on to the next generations. That's why a lot of people come to Canada. And when that dream's taken away, it's going to affect a lot of things.
Right.
And it's going to have a lot of spin-off effects that are going to lead to negative outcomes.
Yes.
And I think it's just become really polarized, and we need to take a step back and actually sit down and have some discussions around this situation and address it properly. And it's going to have to go through a court system, and it's going to have to be legislated in the legislature. That's why our interim leader, Trevor Halford, has asked to call back the legislature right now.
Yes.
Let's repeal UNDRIP and DRIPA so we can give some certainty to the investors out there. No one wants to invest in this country right now because it's volatile.
Uncertain, yes.
Uncertain. They don't know if it's going to lead to any kind of gains or if it's just going to be a loss. So I really want to echo Trevor Halford's words and say, let's get the legislature back first week of January, and let's figure this out.
Sort it out.
Repeal UNDRIP and give some certainty. Gives a better chance of the appeal process in the courts for a lot of the cases. And it'll be a little different moving forward.
So Trevor Halford is interim leader. John Rustad exited. A lot of, even that was very uncomfortable. A lot of MLAs, showing their distaste for his leadership. What do you have to say about that? Because a lot of people watching this felt that it weakened the BC Conservatives. What is your view?
First and foremost, I want to, give respect to John, what he did. Came in, when I was running the by-election, he came in afterwards. Then Bruce came over, give us official party status. You can't take that away. But I guess, sometimes caucus just felt like it needed to make a different move. And I think Trevor Halford's doing a phenomenal job as an interim leader. Not rocking the boats, keeping it steady. There'll be a leadership race. Everyone's kind of waiting for the rules. What are the rules going to be? Then we'll have a robust leadership race, and that will settle who the next leader of the party is, and we'll unite behind them and defeat the NDP, because that is the main goal. And we cannot lose focus of that, because British Columbians are relying on us. A lot of the business community, everyone is relying on us. And we want this country, this province, to be a beacon of hope for others so we can come here and prosper.
Yeah. Who do you think the contenders are?
There's a few, Peter Milbar, a colleague, has made it vocal. He would like to run. Yuri Fulmer, I've been hearing. And, Chris Gardner, I heard. There's Ian Black. People floated my name out there as well. I'm considering I'm going to take some time with the family. I think it's important to discuss this with the family, especially over the holidays.
Of course.
And you're going to have family coming in to visit you. And also a good friend of mine who we kind of created this party with, Aaron Gunn. He's also deciding. And, if he does, I'd probably support him.
Wonderful.
I like to keep it united, and me and him have a lot of the same vision. And I think we can work really well together. But I am strongly considering it. I've had a lot of push, and,
good.
We'll see what happens.
I wish you the best. I mean, that would be a good choice. I've seen you in the community. You're a strong leader in general. We see you, and I think you'd be a fine choice for the leader of the BC Conservative Party.
For me, it's just the motor. Right. I just keep going. I like to work. I came from having my own business, running a trucking company. You're taking calls all hours of the day. I don't go by set hours. When the community needs me, I try and respond right away. Right.
That's what we need, is someone that's there all the time for us. You talked about your affiliation with the trucking industry, and that's another source of contention among Canadians and British Columbians. The trucking industry, there are so many things that need to be regulated that aren't. Overpass strikes was one big issue that I think hasn't gotten enough attention. What can you say about the trucking industry as not being regulated how it should be? What do we need to do?
It's at a tough time. Just look at, the past year I had to advocate for over 200 dump truck truckers and to get them paid. This was a ministry job. This was supposed to be payment every 30 days. And these hardworking truckers had to work 6 months to get paid. We can't have those issues come up again. And now with the overhead strikes, like overpass strikes, The provincial government has known this. During the estimates, I'll be sharing the videos shortly. I like to get a lot of the content out at the right time.
Okay.
And they know our overpasses are lower than most other provinces and jurisdictions. So it creates a different type of element, and we need to address that as well.
Okay. So you're saying the fault of this isn't really on the trucking industry. It's really on the provincial government not being clear on the height of
no, it's on the truckers as well.
Okay.
You have to always measure your loads. You have to figure it out. But the one wild card in this is the temporary foreign workers.
Yes.
You know, bringing people in and getting them to go on that truck, and they're told, just drive it as is. Right. They asked, hey, maybe I should check the load. And as soon as they start checking, they're like, hey, do you want a job here? Get on that road. This happens here. And another thing that actually, something that we were able to get a positive change on is I was called to the Federal Committee for Transportation regarding the driver Inc. program.
Okay.
What's happening now is it kind of undermines the truckers that are doing it the right way and the tax system as well. What happens is someone starts a company as incorporated.
Yeah. They
work 10 hours, just say it's $30. They'll get a business-to-business transaction.
Okay.
Where there's no CPP, no other tax cuts taken off that go into a general revenue stream.
Okay.
So what we were able to do is articulate to them in that committee and give a testimony that was impactful enough to change some of these laws. So now they looked at it and they're going to revamp it, and it helps the drivers too.
Right.
A lot of them come in as permanent residents, temporary foreign workers, students.
Yeah.
They go to work somewhere. They think the person's doing everything proper for them. You know, they're getting paid business to business, and they go and try and buy a car, and they're like, you have no credit. What are you talking about? Go try and buy a home. You have no credit. So it leads to long-term issues. We need to address this, and also helps the trucking companies that are doing things the right way, paying their taxes, taking care of their employees, getting them the medical, dental, health, whatever they need.
Right.
We need to work towards that. We can't have these shortcuts that hurt people doing things the right way, and also take away from our general revenue, which we have to compensate for.
Right. We need it straight across the board to do the right thing, all above board.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the drug situation in British Columbia. As I mentioned, I was in India just recently, and it was refreshing to be there. And for the first time in my life, I thought, wow, I would move away from Canada.
Wow.
That's a big deal for me because I love Canada. But the Canada that I grew up with, the British Columbia that I grew up with, I don't recognize anymore. When I go downtown and I see people hunched over, not even aware of what's happening in their life. They're existing for now, but it's hard to see. It was better to see people in India, even in poverty, than it was to see people in British Columbia. I was shocked at how our society here has become, I guess, like a third world.
Well, you honestly, I don't want to, go so hard on David Eby, but this is the most extreme premier we've ever had in British Columbian history.
What do you mean?
He likes to call others extremists and names and everything, but he needs to take a look in the mirror. Okay. This is the guy that wrote a book, How to Circumvent the Justice System, how to make drugs more accessible with his policies like safe supply and decriminalization. We know the safe supply gets diverted and sold to the youth. The addicts go out and get the safe supply, sell it for the drugs they want, and then the dealers sell that to our youth as safe supply.
So you're saying it's not working?
It's not working. And the 2.5 grams, the decriminalization program, that just gave drug dealers a free rein to get on the streets, hide 2.5 grams everywhere, and continuously sell this. He needs to take a look in the mirror. It's his policies that led to a lot of this. DALT funding them. And now we see they're getting their funding pulled, and they're being charged for taking drugs off the dark web and selling them through storefronts.
Right.
This is the mess, the disaster that David Eby himself created.
Right.
He came from Ontario originally 15 years ago.
Okay.
And in that last 15 years, this whole province has crumbled.
Yeah. So do you think that David Eby, in the quiet of his own home, in his own space, sits there and says, man, I wish I'd done things differently?
I think so. I'd like to hope so.
Yeah.
Because you look around, it's a complete nightmare. I was in Vancouver yesterday.
Yes.
And I know driving through downtown, when I was young, my parents would be like, hey, we're going to go downtown.
Yeah, it's
We're going
exciting.
to have a little picnic at Stanley Park, grab
Yeah.
some ice cream,
Amazing.
maybe do some back to school shopping.
Yep.
And now, like, I think of my kids, 5 and 7, I don't want to take them there.
No.
I don't want them to drive through and have to witness that, or let alone even hop out of a car and walk through that.
Yes.
You know, it's not a good atmosphere. It's not a good, something that your children should think it's normal.
That's right.
We need to stop normalizing things. We need to focus on treatment and rehabilitation.
Right. I love to say Vancouver is beautiful, but then there's only parts of Vancouver that I can show, because if we just look at Vancouver in its entirety, we're showing a lot of the people that are suffering from drug use, which is growing. You're right.
Yeah.
We definitely need something to happen to fix that. Let's talk about South Asian community and, of course, extortion. We talk about it all the time, and it's not going anywhere. It's still here, very prevalent. What can we do? I've asked every MLA, every MP. I've talked to every party. I've talked to the Surrey Police Service, different levels of government, local, everyone. I've talked to everyone, Harman.
Yeah.
What can you tell me? Shed some light on this whole matter of extortion.
One thing that just blows my mind away is, you know, when people come into this country, just say it's a student program, PR, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
When you come here, you should have to go through a verification phase of getting a provincial ID.
Right.
Here we have BC ID.
Yes.
When you go in to get that ID, they take a facial recognition.
Okay.
So that can help if you're caught on camera, other places. You can identify people. Just recently, a person in California was caught extorting someone in my riding of Langley.
Really? Okay.
And they had used facial recognition techniques in order to track them down.
Wonderful.
Through pictures online.
Okay.
And this is a way we can actually, because people can come here with foreign country IDs.
Yeah.
They can have 5 names on one ID from a country. Who knows what this person is? Get busted one day, here's my ID. The next day, here's the other one. And another thing too is we need to put police officers in a best situation to actually succeed in this. We need to work with them, get on the ground, listen to their stories. Because what I just told you right now is from the conversations I've had with police officers. I have a lot of friends in the force, and they tell me a lot of these issues. And we need to have a better wraparound support for our police officers and our business community too, because these are the ones that provide the jobs for us.
Yeah.
They stimulate our economy.
Yes.
And without them, we're headed for hard times. They're the ones that keep money circulating within our community.
Right.
And it's sad to see it happen and targeted in our community. And, you know, we got to address this in a proper manner, and we can't keep punting it down the road. And we need to have a little bit of transparency, because some of the people that are getting deported now we're hearing are doing refugee claims. And they're saying, hey, I'm Khalistani. If I go back to India, I will be targeted. Everyone's just going to say that now.
Right.
Right. And that is something that the person is putting out there. They should be careful, because this can't be the end all that you say here just because you say that, because everyone's going to start saying it.
The refugee claim. I mean, I am one of the kindest people. I probably shouldn't say it about myself, but I am a very kind person. I like to give. I'm the type of person that if somebody needs something, I will definitely help them. If I've got one, I'll give you half. You know, that's the type of person I am. However, this refugee claim, this whole, I want to say, movement, it's disturbing. I recently wanted to sign up for a family to help them at Christmas time. And I got connected with a family, and I thought, this is great. I'm going to do this. And the person had claimed refugee status. As I spoke to this person, she said to me, I'm a single mother and I need this and this for my kids. I said, great. I said, my kids and I will get together all this stuff and we'll drop it off to you. And then she said, actually, I want my kids to be able to pick what they want. And I thought, interesting, because I've been there. I've been a single mother. And at the time when I needed help, if somebody had said they'd give me anything, I would have gladly accepted it. So you tell me, Harman, if somebody is really down on their luck and has nothing, is destitute, are they going to say, let my kids go shopping? That really rubbed me the wrong way. And our government actually gives money to refugees, and she might actually have more money than I do coming in monthly. That's disturbing to me.
Yeah, I've heard of the stories, right? And especially with the child benefit, it applies to them. So if you have more kids, hey, you're getting more money. And it's, what about the folks here who worked hard their entire life? help this economy right here. And it kind of seems like everyone's being forgotten about.
Yes.
And I think that causes some of the division. But we have to have a kind heart. I want to help others too.
Yes.
But there's a way of doing it. And the way this government has done through immigration, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, if my parents came here in 2025, 2026, in the next year, they wouldn't be destined for the same amount of success.
No.
I probably wouldn't be here sitting here and become an MLA.
Right.
Life was a lot more productive. You were able to get ahead.
Yes.
Now it seems like you're working every day just to survive.
That's true. Paycheck to paycheck.
That has to change.
Yep.
It's like a lot of folks, I go to them like, people with money don't have money right now.
100%.
Because a lot of business folks invest. They take a little equity, start another business, try and, grow their network. And that's fine. That's the Canadian dream.
Yeah.
But now people are like, hey, I'm like putting every dollar right back into it to survive. And it's because they don't want to let go staff. They don't want to let go of their workers.
It's a tough time.
This is the one side of entrepreneurs and business folks people don't get. They care about their employees, the greater amount of them. They want them to do good. Yeah. They want them to have a good life, good earnings, so they can take care of their family at home. Then they can come into work and be productive.
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of folks see it. And I just feel like, hey, this person's got money. Let's just tax them more. We got to stop doing that. Right. These people help our economy, create the jobs that we desperately need. And we need them now too.
Right. Well said. I agree with you 100%. Being from an immigrant family and achieving the success that you have and potentially maybe being the leader of the BC Conservative Party in the future, how do you want young people to see you and to view your success?
What I want to say is get involved.
Yeah.
You can do it. Just set your mind to it and work hard. And, I think it's important we get involved in this because we got to keep the fabric, the culture, the way this country was. You work hard, you can get ahead. If we don't have people who have lived here, who have been through it, who have succeeded, and who have done well, get involved, voice their opinions, then nothing's going to change. We need to take this seriously and get involved in politics, I feel, especially the young generation. Our parents worked so hard to build a life for us here. I think we need to fight to keep that standard and keep that memory and tradition alive for everything that our, family and our culture has done.
Right. I agree with you. So Harman, let's talk about jobs and economy. It's a tough time right now. People aren't getting jobs. The economy is suffering. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I've been fighting for jobs. I was fighting for the BC ferry jobs to go to C-SPAN locally. The reason why I say that is we got to get out of this habit of we can do everything cheaper everywhere else.
Right.
If all we're going to do is send our dollars overseas and our jobs, ship them out of this country and bring other people's products that we're going to have to pay a fee to recycle in the future.
Right.
That is not a recipe for winning. We need to keep our dollars circulating here locally, and that creates spin-off economy as well. Like when I was doing the BC ferries, like I had a meeting with them and I said, hey, we're losing about $2 billion and about 8,000 jobs here in local economy and keeping those jobs here. And everyone was like, no. Then the leaked report came out and it confirmed it was actually $2.6 billion in spin-off revenue and over 10,000 jobs here locally.
We could retain that here.
Yeah. And these are good paying jobs, millwrights, carpenters, electricians, plumbers.
Yeah.
They all work in order to build these ships,
okay.
Metal fabricators. These are jobs that we can actually work, save some money, buy a home, raise a family, put down some roots. We have to stop this saying, you know what? You cost too much to young Canadians in general here. We're just going to ship these jobs overseas and get this done cheaper. Then what we're going to have is more people hopping on a plane, leaving this province or this country altogether.
So why are we outsourcing those jobs?
Because it's the thing that, it's cheaper to get it done there. Well, if we're going to send jobs to China where they don't have industrial carbon tax, labor laws, of course the job bids are going to be cheaper.
Right.
Is the quality going to be as good as ours? No.
Right.
And what's going to happen to our youth if they don't have any jobs? We need to think about this. We need to circulate our dollars within our own country. We need to create that spin-off revenue that makes us really viable and an engine for our economy.
Okay. And you've had this discussion, and then where did it lead?
Well, I've had this discussion, and now, they were saying there, but what now I want to vouch for is after the first few ferries are built, let's bring those ferries and build them right back here in BC. We have great yards. Irving, there's C-SPAN. They have a program that they really wanted to roll out under John Horgan in 2021, the National Shipbuilding Program provincially, which David Eby changed to a parts and services program. But let's get that back. Let's build those ships here, bring those jobs back, stimulate the economy here, because we desperately need it. Our youth is depending on us.
So you support what John Horgan had started?
Well, the John Horgan had started. It was a program to bring in and get some good paying jobs back here. Let's start building things here. Let's start manufacturing things here. And you know what? We need to work out our railway systems too. We got Prince Rupert Port. And we need to stimulate our northern economy and other rural parts. Let's get some manufacturers over there, because to buy acreages here in the Lower Mainland, it's $5 million an acre. Over there, it's a couple $100,000. That's a lot more palatable. And as a business person, when you go into starting a venture, you look at how much money am I going to have to put up and when does the return come back? And buying, multi-million-dollar acres here in Lower Mainland, it's more of a long-term process, and people want that quick fix now. And that's why investor confidence is slowed here in the province, and people are taking their businesses other places.
A common thread through all of our discussion today has been focus on what we have here. Not only in jobs, but as in, immigrants coming here versus the people that are already here. Let's take care of what we have right now, right here, and then branch out. We
got to have a BC Canada first approach, get things back to where they were, and then let's give people a proper shot to come in this country and succeed, like many of us have had. I believe it's our responsibility to leave this place better than we found it, and we've gotten away from that, but that is something that I'm going to be fighting for.
So if there's one message you want to give to the people that are watching, you just gave a message to our youth to get involved. If there's another message you want to give to the people that are watching, you can go ahead and give that now.
The reason why I got into politics was to get rid of this old boys, big boys club. We need to get people from our generation involved. And right now it's a generational shift. So I think we need to get involved, step up to the plate, and help restore some of the values and the way this country was, how we can work hard and get ahead.
Wonderful. Harman Bhangu, thank you so much for talking to us today, and best of luck to you. And maybe you'll be our next leader for the BC Conservative Party.
We'll see here. Still a little bit of time to go. I just wish everyone enjoy your Christmas break and, Happy New Year.
Thank you to you as well.